How do we get jobs as an accountant or as an ACCA qualified in UK? Now I'll divide this topic into two parts. First part, if you are already in UK. Now if you are already in UK, then there shouldn't be problem. If you are ACCA qualified, then the question is, how did you get qualified? Did you complete your ACCA in UK or from outside of UK? And if you completed from within UK, then you must would have worked here as well while you were doing your ACCA. So if you have worked already inside UK, then that's not a problem. I think the problem would be when you would have completed ACCA from outside of UK and you have come here either on student visa or on any other kind of visa or through whatever route, and now you have ACCA but you do not have a job and you're finding it difficult to get a job. So there are a couple of things you can do. The first method is straightforward and obvious, going through job posting websites. Now there are tons of those: Michael Page, Glassdoor, ACCA's own website where they post jobs. Some of them are from these agencies which I just mentioned and more, but some of them are exclusive to ACCA as well. So it is best to go through those job posting directories and websites, and then once you are on those websites, just look up those jobs, see what is the requirement, who is the employer, what are they offering, and see if you are best fit for that company. Because when you would look at job, you would be able to tell straight away if that is something which resonates with you, if you vibe with it, and if you feel confident. Because when I would look at something and I know my skill set, when I look at something, I can straight away tell that I am the master at all of these things. I mean, these things should be no problem for me. So you should have some level of confidence when you look at the requirement, and based on that confidence, then decide which ones of those do you want to apply. And when you apply, remember, go extra mile. Do not just apply for those jobs and forget. Firstly, it is important to apply to as many jobs, and let me address this point first. You got to do volume, because if everyone else is also competing against you, there are tons of people who are looking for same kind of job, and tons of people would be applying for that job. And then put yourself in your employer's shoe and then decide as an employer, because now you are in your employer's shoe, and now decide that what are those things that you are looking for in an applicant's CV, and then prepare your CV accordingly, knowing your strengths in mind and weaknesses in mind. When you go back and forth and apply like this, then each application is thoughtful, and that thought would be reflected in what you mention in your CV. But do not just leave it to your CV, also add a cover letter, because since you are doing all of this exercise as a thoughtful act, then why not just add another piece of paper to actually reflect your thoughts even better? Because CV would only just allow you to say what you can say in a CV, but then adding a cover letter would speak volume about you. You can talk about why do you feel that job is best for you, how confident do you feel in that job, what do you understand about that job. So now this is your opportunity to explain what do you understand about that job to your employer, and in that way that employer will be able to tell that, holy moly, this guy actually understands what we are looking for. So you are making it easy for your employer to either accept or reject your application. So make it easy for them. So when you make it easy for them, that would impress them and that they would like it. I mean, again, put yourself in their shoes and then see how great would that be when you look at someone's CV and it makes sense and it is addressing all of those points which they are looking for. And if it also resonates with the employer and they feel like, yeah, this is the kind of guy we are looking for, then you have greater odds. Right? So that's number one thing. If you are really struggling to get job, then there are additional things you can do. Now remember what I said earlier. In order to stand out, we would have to do stuff which others are not doing. When I was studying ACCA, our teacher in advanced corporate reporting, then back then we used to call it P2, he said that if you want to succeed from your competitors, then you need to do one extra thing from what they are doing. And that really stuck with me ever since then. And ever since then, I would try to think that what everyone else is doing while I was doing ACCA, and then I would do a bit extra. For example, I thought about getting distinction in one of ACCA's professional papers. I randomly thought about it, and then when I heard this saying from my teacher, then I actually tried to put it into practice just casually, not actually aiming for distinction, but actually with this belief that okay, sure, if he says so, then let me just do that. When I'm just sitting there studying all of these exams and papers and doing all of that practice, I might just do one extra thing as well. So I just did it with a lot of fun, casually. I would actually write down, I would do written practice of each question that has been covered in the class. I would not just revise that subject and that topic which has been explained in class on that day, but I would actually do written practice of relevant questions from kit as well. So I did that throughout, and I got distinction and I passed all of my ACCA exams in first attempt. And I actually made a video on how to pass professional exams in first attempt, how I did that, but I would recreate that video because I think it's been a while now. I need to explain it a bit better. But let's just stick to our original discussion, that how do you get jobs. If you're really struggling, then you can do something extra which others might not be doing, additional stuff. I mean, think of what else can you do. These are the avenues from where you can apply, from where everyone else is applying, through job posting websites, through agencies. But what are some of the other ways of getting jobs? You have word of mouth, but if you do not have, if you do not really know a lot of people, word of mouth is great. A lot of firms actually, they hire people through word of mouth. They do not advertise. So word of mouth is great. If you can have people who know someone, or if you know someone who knows someone, then it is great. Make use of all of those. But if you do not have anyone, if you do not have links, then think of what are some of the other things that you can do. For example, can you not go on Google and search for accounting firms near you? And then if you just do that, can you not one by one ring them, ask them if they have accounting job, and introduce yourself and speak to, if assistant picks up, then tell them I need to speak to your boss. Can you have your boss for me? And just speak to that boss, say I'm this, and explain yourself in within those 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and do that for 100 employers. Apply to 100 employers. And if they do not answer phone calls, even if they answer phone calls, they're gonna forget about you because it was just a random phone call. Then do a follow-up even the same day, and you can have ChatGPT write a professional email for you in which you just follow up that, hey, great conversation I had with you, and this is my CV, this is who I am, I have done ACCA, this is my experience, I am really good at these roles, and I would be interested if any job opportunity arises in future. Please do let me know, and I'm looking forward to hear from you soon. And just drop that email to them. In that way, you are standing out. You are making sure that whenever an opportunity arises, they would have someone in mind who approach them through unorthodox way, and they would remember that. So that's exactly what I did. That's exactly how I found my first job. I was also looking for jobs. I had applied to tons of these places online, but I was getting interview calls. But meanwhile, I went to Google, I looked up several employers, I emailed them, and on one of the employers website, when I was looking for the email to apply and send my CV, I actually saw they had this very old style newspaper style cutout piece which said we are looking for audit assistant. And I was very much happy because that's exactly what I was looking for, a job. And this was so untraditional way of advertising job. They didn't advertise it through agency. They had just this piece of a newspaper styled article on their website which said they are looking for a job, a tender notice kind of page on their website, a very old website. And I immediately called them, I sent my CV, and I got that job. But meanwhile, I had applied, I had emailed to several other accounting firms near me as well. So I got that job. I had my own reasons not to continue working with them. A month later, I decided not to continue that job. It was a great job. So it was a great job. I worked there for 1 month, and due to my personal reasons, I couldn't continue working with them. But the point is, not only I got job, a paid job, but also they offered me work visa. I didn't need work visa. I already had a visa, but during the interview, they were impressed, and And mind you, I did not have any accounting experience before. I just had completed all my ACCA exams with distinction, National Place Winner Award in Advanced Audit and Assurance International, but I did not have any experience. And I got this job during my first time audit assistant job. And they were really impressed by my work. During that 1 month, I completed the audit. Like, when I say completed the audit, I'm talking about 300 pages of a single client. So all the workings within it, not the theoretical part, the calculation part, the numeric part, and all of that part. So I completed the audit in that way of at least 3 clients, and I think I had started fourth one as well. And the employer was really impressed, and he already talked to me about raise in my pay. And during the interview, like I mentioned, they had offered me work visa as well, which I didn't need. So what did I do? I just went on Google, I looked up these employers, I applied, and one of them got back to me. A month later, when I quit working for them, I remember I had applied to other places before as well. So one of the other employers that I already had applied for, he got back to me through the message, through WhatsApp message, because I had got his WhatsApp number. And that's what happens as well. You look through those employers, those firms on Google, and some of them do not have, some of them do not have landline number, but they actually have a WhatsApp number. So you just WhatsApp them. So this guy gets back to me. One day had not passed since I quit my first job, and this Pakistani person, he messaged me that we have this accounting post, you come in for interview and let's do this. Because I was already put off by my previous experience, I did not want to do accounting job anymore. But I had a friend of mine who was living in the same house, who was my senior in ACCA, who had arrived in UK just a month before, and he had accounting experience as well, 3 to 4 years in Pakistan, and he knew accounting stuff already because he had experience. I go back to that person who messaged me that I am the owner of this accounting firm and you can come for interview. And I told him that, look, I'm committed somewhere else, and because I already got job before you have reached out to me, but I have my friend who I want to refer, if you do not mind, who is not just ACC, who has not just passed all of ACC exams, but he is qualified ACC, he has experience, he is punctual, he is disciplined, and blah 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 blah. And if you do not mind, can I refer him to you and you can interview him? He said that, yeah, more than welcome, send him in. And I knocked on my friend's door, and it was a very funny story because he had night shifts, so he would work during the night and he would sleep during the day. And I knocked at his door, and he was desperate for an accounting job because he wanted a professional job. Whole his life he had done white collar professional job, and he really needed that. I knocked on his door, and he half-heartedly he opens the door, and I tell him that, look, immediately get ready, you got to go for this interview, he is waiting for you. I quit my job, he has asked me to come for this interview, but I have convinced him that my friend would appear and he would apply. I already have a job even though I have quit my previous job, so you go. And he was like, can you ask him if I can come tomorrow, I'm really tired, I want to sleep. That really pissed me off, but at the same time I laughed. And then I messaged him that he is working somewhere, he cannot come right now, but if you allow, he can come tomorrow and he can do this interview with you. He went and he did the interview. Next day he got that job. To this day he is doing that job, he is over the moon. And point of the whole story is that this is how you get jobs as well. So you got to think, do you really want accounting job, and is it really that hard? How hard can it be? Have you tried all of these things, and what are some of the other things which you have tried? I mean, these are the things that I have mentioned. Can you name 3 to 4 things, series of things? I mean, each thing should be a series of jam-packed action, and which you would have done to get job, and now you are complaining there's not enough jobs or you're not getting any job. You got to put action, and more action than what others are doing, and then you can say that, okay, sure, I'm not getting jobs. But until you put all of these things in action, you cannot complain. And I hope this video really helps. If you are not in Pakistan, now that's the second part. If you're not in Pakistan, what makes you think that an employer in UK should sponsor you from outside of UK, spend 5 to 10,000 pounds of their money to sponsor you when you're not even in UK, and when they can find all sorts of people in UK? I mean, ACC accounting is not a qualification which is scarce in this country, or the scarcity of people who have accounting experience. So why would they do that? If it is a specialized job which requires a person with a specialized skill set who has worked, let's say, in a department, in an organization, under special or certain circumstances, then sure, it is a specialized job. For example, person who has 10 years of experience being an audit partner, and a firm in UK is looking for that. So if you have that experience, let's say you are in Qatar, or you are in UAE, you are in Saudi Arabia, then yeah, sure, it is something specialized. But if you're talking about accountants in general, then there is no shortage of accountants in general. So if you are not in UK hoping to get job in UK, then you need to build a CV, and you need to add a lot of value into it, so that you can have some specialized skills. You cannot be applying for ordinary accounting jobs which are not specialized and hope that an employer would give you sponsorship while you are outside of UK. That's not going to happen. You need to be in UK in order to get these jobs which do not require experience or basic level of experience, or you need to have some special skill set which is demanded and is worth for employer to sponsor and pay all of your expenses to bring you here. I hope this helps. Now, is ACCA worth it? That's another discussion that I would do and leave for another day. But overall, this question is relevant when you are seeking a career path. But if you just want to become an accountant, then ACCA is not a qualification that you do just to become an accountant, because there are tons of other qualifications which are much easier. They do not require as much investment, and you can do them in less period of time. So ACCA is not just a qualification to become an accountant. It is a career path. Once you are an accountant and you're working somewhere, now you want to, let's say, reach at the certain level within that organization or department, or you want to become a finance director, you want to become an audit partner, or you want to have your own accounting firm, because now you have had enough of an experience working somewhere, and you know ins and outs, you know all those things. If you just had license, you could actually go and start your own practice. Sure, now you require ACCA, ICAW, or some sort of qualification which allows you to do your own practice. So it is a career path. So I think this question needs to be addressed in this way: that what are you looking for? Are you looking for an accounting job? Then to get started with just a job, you can get started with very basic qualification. And once you start your job, when you are in UK or anywhere else, while you are working, you can start your ACCA. And in most cases in UK, your employer would sponsor that, because obviously they would want to spend and invest in human resources. And in most cases, when students do ACCA, it is sponsored by their employers in UK. So but if you're not in UK and you are living, let's say, in Pakistan, in India, then that's not the case. We do not have employers who sponsor ACCA. We have to do it from our own pocket, and then we can discuss about it and debate about it. But I would leave that debate for another day. Until then, take care.